So as we've been doing these safety videos on how to make sure people who work with locks and keys stay safe, something interesting was brought up and I'm looking forward to discussing it, and that is dealing with domestic situations. So if you work with locks and keys and you work with the public, chances are at some point you're gonna have a domestic situation on your hands. So I brought in my dad, also known as the Lockfather. How's it going?
All right, how about yourself?
So out of all the years that you've been in the locksmithing business, have you had to deal with some domestic situations?
More than I'd like to say.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And so, do you have any good examples of them that have went bad?
Well, one of the guys were out doing a job, and you try to talk to over the phone. Oh, I need my locks changed. Can you do it between here and here? And why do we have to do it between here and here? Well, because my wife or girlfriend's coming home and I want to change the locks as I'm kicking her out. You go, oh, great.
Yeah.
And so I sent one of the guys there. He did it, and the guy's sitting out on the couch. My guy's undoing the locks. And all of a sudden, the girlfriend came running, plowed him over, and started thumping the guy sitting on the couch.
The boyfriend.
The boyfriend,
Okay.
right? And I've always told him, tell him to knock it off or you're calling the cops. Well, he called the cops.
Okay.
And she got arrested. And now she's mad at us, But we tell him, if you guys can't do it normal talk, we're done.
Yeah.
Okay. And we had to go to court on that one.
You did?
Yeah. So here, I still got to pay my guy because he works for me, but I'm not making any money. And here you got to sit in court for a day.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, but that's part of life.
Yeah. And so, I'm guessing you've had more than one.
Oh, absolutely.
Several, right? And so I think the thing is that we have to acknowledge the fact that they happen.
Right. It's going to happen.
Right. And so the question I have and what I kind of want to talk about is, how do you nowadays handle the situation? So how do they, I'm guessing they normally start with some phone calls, like you kind of said, it gets kind of weird. And they're like, hey, and
then I tell them exactly what's up. I need to know before I come. Are you getting divorced? Is there domestic? Is there going to be guns and craziness?
Yeah.
And
will they normally tell you what's going on? Or?
Yeah. And sometimes if it's too crazy sounding, we turn them down.
Okay, if it just is kind of getting weird.
Yeah, I tell them to take off the locks, ask a friend to sit in the house while you bring the locks to us. Because we don't want to be stuck in anything, because you got to go to court. We've been to court more than once on stuff.
Okay. And so let's talk about your policies. And, because, when we're talking about overall for people who work with locks and keys to be safe,
right?
I think that talking about domestic situations is one of those. Like one guy got tackled.
Right.
Maybe it could have been worse.
Right.
Right?
We want our people safe.
Yeah.
They're going there to do a job, not to be in the middle of a fight.
Absolutely. And the truth is, like with relationships, they can get, when things
nasty.
get a little squirrely,
yep,
they can get nasty.
Absolutely.
And so talk to me about your protocol that you have for your business when it comes to domestic situations.
Well, domestic, without them knowing over the telephone, you show up, changing like, they keep looking at their clock or their watch.
Yeah.
And is there a problem? Well, I need you to get it done because I kicked out the husband or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, well, this is what you do. You tell them straight up, if the guy comes and starts any problem, I'm dropping the locks and walking away.
Okay, so
even if the locks are off the door, there's going to be a conflict. We're walking away.
Okay, so you mean that if you're there, I just want to get real clear on this.
Right.
So you're saying that when it comes to a domestic situation,
right,
and you let the person know, hey, I will go out there and we will rekey the locks, but if the other person shows up and there's any sort of tension. It starts to...
Well, tension's no problem. Is there any physical abuse? We call the cops no matter what.
Yeah. And then you're...
And I tell my guy to drop the locks and wait outside till the cops show up.
Okay.
Because today's world, everybody carries a gun.
Yeah.
You know, and if there's a gun involved, I don't want anybody to get beat up either.
Yeah.
But it's a tough call.
It's a tough situation, especially when you show up in the middle of it and all of a sudden you gain this new insight of what's going on.
Right. And first of all, I need my technician to be safe.
Yeah.
Now, me being the size I am, stuff still happens, but not as often.
Yeah.
Because I will stand up for if it's the male or female, if they're getting hit. I'll say, hey, knock that crap off,
Yeah.
or I'm calling the cops. And I will call the cops right then and there.
Sure.
But
if we start calling the cops, you're calling 911.
Right.
Okay.
Or if nothing's coming and I have to get in there and, say, pull somebody off, I've done that too.
Okay. Yeah, no, let's talk about the verbal side of it. Right? A lot of times in these type of, if there's some sort of a breakup or something going on, a lot of times tensions get really high and mouths really can start going. I mean, what do you do if you show up and, of course, the significant other is not happy with what they see going on and they start chirping?
Yeah, I'm calling my lawyer. You're going to get sued. You're going to do this. You're going to jail. This is my house too. Yeah.
So how do you handle that?
We were called out to change the locks. We're changing the locks. Then if the spouse calls or the boyfriend or girlfriend calls and says, no, we're not playing that game. We changed them once. We're done. Okay.
So you will change that address locks one time period.
Right. Within the next month.
Right. Okay. So if they call back in a couple days.
Say,
I'm sorry,
they locked me out. No, I'm done.
You're done. And you've kind of you felt that that's kind of kept you out of
a lot of problems.
Is by doing the once.
Right. And then I call the other locksmiths that are around and let them know, and they've called us.
Yeah, and just say, hey.
Yeah, stay clear.
Yeah,
because that's the whole thing. To be safe, you want to help each other.
Yeah.
They're your competition, but at the same time, you still don't want them to get hurt.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about so when you go there and you realize it's a domestic, are you checking ID to make sure that person can live there? How do you handle that?
If they have a key to the house, that's one thing. I ask for their IDs, but up in Idaho, a lot of them have P.O. boxes. They don't have their physical address on it.
Okay.
Okay, then I said, show me a piece of mail with your name on it. Or a bill.
Something.
Yeah, and that's good enough for me.
Okay, so that's usually how you handle that situation.
Yeah, the same with safes. When you're going in middle of the night to change a combo or open a safe, you go, let me see.
Yeah.
Because one house got robbed. Thank God it wasn't us.
Yeah.
People were snowbirds and they lived there. People moved into their house, found a safe, and had somebody open it.
Yikes.
Yeah. Because you always got to look over I say look over your shoulder. No, my company, I say if you have to look over your shoulder, don't do the job. No ands, ifs, or buts.
Yeah.
Because who wants to be dragged into court? I've been in business over 40 years. I've never been sued. They've threatened, but I've never had to go to court. But the domestic problem would have been half a dozen times.
Okay. So it's been an issue over the years.
Yes. And it gets worse. The way the world is today, it gets worse.
It's escalated.
Yes,
it's escalated.
Absolutely.
Right now. Okay, so I just want to recap and make sure that we kind of bullet point our conversation here. So, first, when you show up, you're trying to figure out some sort of proof that they live there.
And let's say they don't have the key. Maybe the spouse or girlfriend took it from them.
Yeah.
As long as they have ID showing that they live there, that's all we need.
Okay, so live there. You also let them know that if the significant other shows up, starts chirping, start running their mouth on you, you're going to leave.
Right.
Right?
Yes, and call the cops. Because
I don't
want to leave them unsecure either. So that's why we go outside.
Yeah, if they get all heated,
Right.
you don't want to just
Right. So we call the cops and say, hey, we're having domestic here. We're the locksmith and there's problems.
Okay. And then depending on, and of course, if there's any sort of physical violence, right, you're calling the cops and you're kind of dealing with that. And then I'm guessing that's kind of a 1-by-1 situation after you call the cops. Depending on what happens, you might stay and finish the job.
Well, I'm standing there when I'm calling the cop because I'm not going to, it's amazing how many men get beat up by the girls.
Yeah.
It's not always the girls getting thumped on.
Sure.
It's usually the other way around.
Yeah.
And, I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Sure.
And like I say, I'm not trying to be Mr. Big or anything else, but as a man, I feel that's my job.
And so if that situation, you'll call the cops, you might leave. After they show up, you might finish the job, you might leave, just depending on the situation. Right. Sometimes it's better just to get out of there.
Right, because we have some female locksmiths would go out and do jobs.
Yeah.
I don't want them anywhere by it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then lastly, you'll only rekey that property one time within a reasonable amount of time, like a month or so. Right. Like you're not going to be called back 3 days later because now the other significant other called another locksmith, had them change it. Now they want you to come back
and change it again.
Yeah, I think I appreciate that too, because like not only is it good to not do that, but you also don't want to just drain the people of their money.
It's not It's not about the money in that situation.
Yeah.
There have problems. Most likely somebody drained a bank account already.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Yeah.
But I'm not playing those games.
Okay. And then of course, on top of that, besides the points we just made, you're saying that you're also kind of filling them out over the phone.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes they're going to be very transparent. Right. And sometimes they're going to act like it's just another day at the office, right?
Yeah. And that's the same thing when people are deceased. We require that they show us proof that you have a power of attorney.
Okay.
Because the other brothers and sisters are all trying to get in there, take whatever they can.
Yeah, that's another point.
Yeah. So we say no power of attorney, we're not touching it. No hands, ifs, or buts. Okay. Until you have the lawyer give us the papers saying.
Yeah. Very good. Well, hey, I really hope that you found this information helpful when you're out there rekeying homes and unfortunately having to deal with some domestic situations. Thanks for talking about it.
No problem.
Coming on. And for all of you listening and watching, if you have questions or you have comments and you have different strategies and things that you would like to add to the conversation, make sure you do it in the comments below. And also include the hashtag LockBoss to automatically be entered into one of 5 free prizes we give away each week here on YouTube. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.